I'm going to show you how to properly use Microsoft Paint. So number one, here is the home tab, and you got all these different tools, and you might not use any of these besides this, the bucket fill, and a lot of the color stuff. And the important thing to note, and this is most of these are just my preference, but I think my preference in this is the objective truth. You can believe me because of how much I've used this program. So the first mistake that a lot of newcomers do, actually, first of all, I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see better. And I'm going to demonstrate first thing. What I don't do is I don't use the default brush. This is the default brush that it gives you. And when you draw anything with it, you can see right now it looks crisp, but when you let go of the mouse, it creates this anti-aliasing effect. I'm gonna zoom in a little more so you can see this anti-aliasing effect. But I'm gonna delete this shape. I'm going to make something more organic, because that way we can get more of the aliasing, anti-aliasing there. Now you can see how blurry this is. And if you were to go to fill this with the bucket tool, it leaves all these little anti-aliasing artifacts. It doesn't treat them like a transparent effect or anything like that, because Microsoft Paint does not have transparency whatsoever. It can act in ways where it has transparency, but it can't do these halftones. So my tool of choice is just the pencil tool, because when you draw with this, there's no anti-aliasing going on, and when you fill it, it becomes a solid color. If you don't want to have to go over your line work again, then pencil tool is the go-to. Another cool thing about the pencil tool, a lot of people just don't know about this. They don't use it. The secondary color is the same color as the background as default, and technically it is the background color. So if I change this to say red, this white is no longer a background color. If I take a piece of the background and I move it, it reveals the red from underneath it. That is what the secondary color is. That's what it does. But most importantly, what it does, I'm gonna change the line thickness a little bit so you can see better. You can use it as an eraser, so you can erase whatever you did. This one is your left mouse, and this one is your right mouse click. So left mouse, it draws the primary color, and the mouse right draws the secondary color. Very simple and very quick to do. So going more of the basic tools, we're going to talk about the eraser. So this is a very important tool, actually. A lot of people might not know. When using the eraser, the secondary color matters. I'm going to just draw a shape here, right? Nothing too crazy. But what the eraser does, it erases everything to the secondary color, which is the same as the background color. So this white is not the background right now. So if I erase it normally, it just erases everything down to the background color, which is red. But it has a fun little effect, and this used to be its own separate tool, but we still have the color selective eraser. And what this does is when you right click, just like you would with the pencil tool, what the eraser does, it erases the color that you have selected as your main color. So in this case, it would only erase the black, right? You can see the black lines are now turning red. And this is where things are gonna get interesting. The eraser can act as a kind of color mask. So I'm gonna do a little something here. Okay, that should be good enough. Usually, it would maybe pick some kind of let's start with the skin tone. Let's get a nice skin tone going on here. Probably you're gonna find at least one little gap that's gonna be really annoying to navigate to and fix this. So what we can do instead is select the skin tone that we want as the background color, and then the background color that we have here as the main color. So now, like, we can just fill in the gaps and we don't have to worry about covering up the line art. Fairly simple. No, it's not. For the hair, let's do like a red. Can pick a bigger size for this one. Nothing too extravagant, just a little bit of a shade there. Also, the way that the eyedropper tool works is when you click on your mouse one, that picks the main color, and if you want to pick the secondary color, you can just click your mouse too. Now we're gonna do the same thing to here, so it's gonna be a little bit this way and a little bit that way. That should be good. Sorry if this sucks, I'm kind of just quickly doing this. Hope this should give a good enough idea of how effective these tools actually are. And while you may not use Paint as your main art program, it is still pretty good to understand it. Even when I make something that is supposed to be a bigger project, I still, more often than not, just doodle around with Paint. I just use it for sketching and doodling, and for that purpose, it is pretty much perfect. Now we're getting to the meat of things. Let's pick an in-between color here. So we're gonna go a little bit more red and a little bit. I think this is a good in-between. I'm gonna check if it is. Take this as our main color, and we're gonna, if you want to make some smoother transitions here and there, this color mask, this technique works really well. Another thing that we can do, if you want to color the line art, we can just use the eraser to do that. So that creates a little bit of a softer look. Hopefully you can get some kind of an idea of what you can do with this. Another couple of things to note is when you move something, you can do a transparent selection. If you wanted to move this face onto like a different background, and make this background white. Okay, it is already checked. And of course, the eyes being white also, that looks horrifying. Let me just fix that real quick. So that's fairly simple to do. Next, let's move on to some, a little bit more goofy, silly stuff. I'm sure everybody already knows how to do a gradient, but I'm gonna show it to you anyways. I'm gonna draw a line diagonally, and I'm gonna fill the other part in. And we're going to resize, and we're going to select pixels. We're going to uncheck maintain aspect ratio, make it 1 pixel wide, and we're going to resize it again, pixels, and not maintain the aspect ratio. I'm just going to copy and paste the height, and it has a nice smooth gradient. The larger it is, the smoother the gradient is going to be. Fairly straightforward. But now what we're going to do, fun thing, I'm going to make thick circle around this. And for the circles, you can actually hold shift when you first make them. You want to copy and paste something, if you just Control C, Control V, it always appears in the top corner of your screen. And we don't want that. We want to move it from here to a different location. So we are going to hold Control while we make the move, and it just copies it from one point to another. Pretty useful. But what you can also do, say if you wanted to make a brush out of something, like you want to make a bit of a textured brush, you can select this. Now we're just gonna copy it. When you hold down Shift, every single pixel that it moves, it pastes the shape. If you hold down Shift, you can just use it as a brush. That's pretty neat. What's really fun is we can use it with our little gradient ball here, and we can do the funny 3D snake. It actually worked better if I had chosen a more darker color to do this with. So now we have this cool shape here. Just gonna draw something with this. See, that creates a fun little three-dimensional effect. I think we used to do this a lot in computer lab in school. One of the most brain-dead things you can do. How you rotate text in Paint is a crucial test of one's skills at using this program. The basic formula of how it works is you skew the text one way, and because you can't skew it in negative degrees, you're going to have to flip the text horizontally. before you skew it. And I'm gonna do horizontal. I might want to do a little bit more of an angle here. It looks a little bit stretched. We can counter that by rescaling it. As you can see, this is very destructive. So you might want to start off very large. We're gonna do this again. 272. Now this should be big enough where it doesn't get completely destroyed. And we don't have to even click here. We can just right click here to open the menu. Invert color. Huh, that's actually pretty neat. Guess I learned something myself as well. But we're going to resize. Vertical 15, maybe? 15. Flip horizontal. I'm just gonna reselect it. Resize to 20. Let's do 27. Flip horizontal. And just gonna. That's about it. Yeah. I hope that you found something new, something useful or entertaining in this. If you haven't even considered using Paint in any capacity, maybe now you do. Maybe you still don't. Maybe you still like to be a snob, a little bitch. You can still do some pretty cool shit in Paint. It's all about how you use it and not what program you are using.